Are you injured and unsure about your compensation? Well, you could be leaving thousands behind. And in today's video, we'll break down how personal injury compensation works and the crucial factors that can maximize the value of your case. Hey, Brian Glass here, and I became a personal injury lawyer 17 years ago. And today, after having secured the largest DUI verdict in the history of Virginia, I can personally say that most people undervalue their case and that that's exactly what insurance companies are counting on. If you or somebody you know has been injured or disabled and they want to speak with a lawyer they can trust, give us a call at Ben Glass Law to schedule your free consultation. Now let's get into the details. What are damages in a personal injury case? Well, to begin with, damages is the amount of financial compensation paid to an injured person by the at-fault party or their insurance company. Now, damages are meant to make you whole again, which means compensating you for all the losses that you've suffered as a result of an accident. There are two main types of damages: compensatory damages and punitive damages. Compensatory damages are the ones that are designed to cover your actual losses. This includes everything from medical expenses to lost wages to pain and suffering. Punitive damages, on the other hand, are rare, and they're designed to punish the defendant for egregious behavior like drunk driving or intentional harm. However, punitive damages are typically only awarded for extreme cases and are limited by the law. Now, let's dive a little bit deeper into the two main types of compensatory damages. Sometimes we call these special damages and general damages. Special damages are your dollar sign damages. They're your economic losses. They're the things that are easy to quantify, like medical bills, lost wages, or property damage. Now, for medical expenses, this is everything from your hospital bills, surgeries, medications, therapy, any future medical care that you may need due to injuries. And lost wages are what they sound like. If you can't work because of your injuries, you're entitled to compensation for lost wages, even if you've used your vacation pay or your PTO to keep your paycheck the same. For example, if you miss 4 weeks of work at $1,000 a week, you're entitled to $4,000 in lost wages, again, even if you've used PTO and you haven't actually lost any dollars. For property damage, this covers things like your car repairs or the replacement to other damaged properties in the crash. Other category damages is called general damages. This is non-economic damages, and these are the things that are much harder to quantify, but are no less important. These are things like pain and suffering, which is your compensation for physical pain that you've endured because of the accident, or emotional distress, which is your anxiety or depression or other psychological impacts from the crash, your loss of enjoyment of life, if your injuries prevented you from doing the things that you love, like hobbies, spending time with your family, you can receive compensation for that as well. Okay, let's talk about the factors that impact the value of your case. Now, there are several key elements that determine how much compensation you're likely to receive, and understanding them will help you get a clearer idea of what the case is worth. Now, obviously, the severity of the injuries plays a huge role. If you've suffered long-term effects or permanent disability, your case is worth substantially more than somebody that has just temporary injuries. A disability or a life-altering injury can drastically increase the value of your case. A clear liability is another important factor. If there's strong evidence that the other party was entirely at fault, it is easier for us to secure a higher settlement for you. On the flip side, if liability is disputed, your case might be far less or even worth zero, or it can require far more time and effort for us to get resolved for you. Insurance coverage can also cap the amount of compensation that you receive. Now, if the at-fault driver has only minimum insurance coverage, and in Virginia that's $50,000, your compensation might be limited to that amount. However, if you have underinsured and underinsured motorist coverage on your own policy, that'll cover the difference. Now, lastly, your credibility is key. If you're consistent in your statements and you show up for medical appointments and you act in a trustworthy manner, your case is more likely to succeed. However, any inconsistencies or contradictions will lower the value of your claim. What reduces compensation? Now, it's also important to understand what reduces compensation. The first factor is your failure to mitigate damage. This means if you are not seeking proper treatment or if you delay your medical care, insurance companies will try to argue that your injuries aren't serious because you waited too long to go and get treatment. Contributory negligence is another factor that can reduce your compensation. If you were partially at fault for an accident, like if you were speeding, ran through a red light, merged without using your turn signal, your settlement could be compromised. In fact, if a jury finds that you're even 1% at fault, you don't get to recover anything. And that's why one of the most important steps you could take to maximize your personal injury compensation is to hire the right lawyer for your case. Now, the right lawyer is going to gather evidence, calculate the full extent of your damages, and negotiate with the insurance company to ensure that you get fair compensation. Maximizing your personal injury compensation isn't just about adding up your medical bills and lost wages. It's about understanding the full scope of your losses and knowing what factors will affect the value of your case. So if you or a loved one has been hurt here in Virginia and you're ready to talk to the right lawyer for your case, one who will fight for the compensation you deserve, call us today at Benglass Law. Now, this consultation is free, it's confidential, and it could help you get the settlement you deserve. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit subscribe and check out the next video.